We're speaking with Liz Collin, who does her work now for Alpha News. Well, this is the second documentary you've done. The first one was the George Floyd.
The Fall of Minneapolis.
The Fall of Minneapolis. This is called Minnesota versus We the People.
Would you say this is less controversial than your first one?
Well, I don't think you can get much more controversial than anything involving George Floyd. That's
true.
That's
for
true.
Sure.
I really think that they're similar in the sense that we just really try to tell the truth, as controversial as that seems to be nowadays.
Okay.
What do you think the falling out will be as more and more people realize how we're being led? Do you think there are enough? Harrison Walz won 9 counties in Minnesota. Trump won 78. But Walz wins the votes, obviously, of the metro. Are people going to awaken to what's happening? I mean, their own safety's at stake.
Yeah, we went to Mankato the week before the election, talked to the Blue Earth County Republicans, and they were talking about how they've never seen so many people come in for signs. And keep in mind, this is Walz's home county where he lived and worked for 20 years. But we could not find a person, in the MOS man on the street interviews that even would admit to us that they were going to vote for him. So I felt in my gut that day that, wow, something really is afoot here. This seems different. And that's just a temperature of talking to 20 people in a parking lot.
Right.
But there is something to be said about that. And Blue Earth County had been carried by Democrats in the past. It had been Blue County. And then sure enough, we, find out that it flipped red this time around. But I travel the state quite a bit. I've been doing things with the documentary and for Alpha News. And it does seem that people seem to be more aware now. And I think we can really thank alternative media for that. People can see this stuff now. There was, a tremendous amount of censorship that we had to fight through before. I think that the majority of people that I talk to in the world of new media, they get their news from X. That's where they're getting their information. And, Twitter before Elon Musk, you'd never be able to find this kind of news before. It was really hard.
What do you make of the Somali community endorsing Trump having a press conference?
Yeah.
It's not covered by anybody, but I think was Alpha just the only.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was shocking, so close, and no local media outlet other than you guys said this is what they're thinking.
Yeah, and I still don't even fully understand that because I've talked to some people involved. So this is about 30 Somali leaders who stepped forward just before the election. So we're like, of course, we're going to cover this. We're going to stream it live. And you can do that this day and age. But there were other stations there that chose then not to run it. That's what I'm aware of. They were actually in attendance.
Well, let's do some full disclosure. Weren't a couple people tied to the food fraud that endorsed Trump? Just for full disclosure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it unseemly of me to bring up a lawsuit against you?
Oh, no, it's fine.
Is that still underway?
It is, yes.
Katie Blackwell, an assistant chief of the Minneapolis Police Department, says her
If I said no, Joe, would you then have just gone into...
No.
He would have done it anyway.
Yeah,
He would have done it anyway.
Yeah,
Run
for
right
sure.
through the roadblock.
This isn't... I've seen this rodeo before. Yeah.
She believes that she was wronged in the Fall of Minneapolis documentary and your book, They're Lying, the media, the left, and the death of George Floyd. She's contending that, her remarks were taken out of context or...
Right. So we used her own words, her own testimony, public testimony, and included that in the documentary. We have a great attorney who have called this garbage from the very beginning, the entire lawsuit. And garbage belongs in the trash. Those are his words. We're confident.
Who's your attorney?
Chris Maddle, in
fact. The same guy that's on the documentary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He agreed to take this on, but yeah, we're confident that we will be successful. And if anything, the Star Tribune wrote about the documentary for the very first time as a result of the lawsuit.
You're kidding.
So,
wow.
Where does it stand right now?
We're just in the phase of kind of gearing up for presenting our side of things to the judge. So we should probably know something in a couple months. But we've moved to have the case dismissed at this point.
Well, given the temperature of the Twin Cities, given the political climate, are you even surprised that a lawsuit came up?
No, actually, we're not. And we've been doing some reporting on Alpha News, the truth about the lawsuit, and the thing that I think is very interesting and newsworthy that the Star Tribune, of course, would leave out, is that the owner of the law firm is very good friends of Ilhan Omar, Keith Ellison. This is a very left-wing law firm, and lawfare is a very common thing, sadly, in Minnesota. That I also think is a big part of this, and they would love nothing more than for Alpha News to be silenced and go
If
away.
Katie Blackwell would like equal time, she's more than welcome to come on.
Sure.
But I just wanted to bring up that suit because it seems to me inevitable that given the kind of reporting that you're doing and that Alpha's doing, that there's going to be a lashing back from people. They can't just sit back and take this and have it pointed out every day how wrong they are. They're going to, at some point, they're going to fight for themselves and hopefully, ideally, will be revealed to be wrong. They're not going to win. Because
So wait, Liz, what you're saying then is we're just not big enough to be sued yet by that law firm? Is that what you're trying to say?
Wait, guys. Going to be uploading
Bide
a
our
few.
time.
Yeah.
I didn't do nothing.
Right, I didn't do nothing.
What is your next project? Do you know?
We were
You
kind
stay
of
busy, don't
we
you?
were getting through the elections. Sadly in Minnesota there's so much material. I mean, I wish that wasn't the case, but we have some things. We have some things in the works that I'll let you know. I think there's some questions about the election system in Minnesota that we're
Which is fair
exploring.
game. Yeah.
Yeah,
Does Alpha News have a physical building?
we do. Yep, we're located in Plymouth. Do
you
you want to
go-
stop by?
I might.
Okay.
Do you go there? Do you have
Yes.
an office?
Yeah.
You have an office.
Yes, in fact, I
there.
go
You know why he's asking this?
See, we
He wants to have lunch with me, doesn't
No,
he?
no.
No,
The Pioneer Press does
Yes,
not.
I do, but Bob might get angry.
He
The
actually
the
prefers
reason I
somebody else have
ask,
lunch with me.
the reason I ask is we don't have a building. The Pioneer Press has no physical.
Joe lost his dictionary
Oh.
and he went to go get it, and the guy says, "You're not here anymore."
And
Do
I
you
said,
need a
"Where are
dictionary
we?"
from Alpha News?
No,
Ours
no.
might be better.
Updated. It might be updated.
No, my point merely was that I'm glad that there's a physical presence for Alpha News.
I didn't
that
realize that the Pioneer Press has no.
we don't have a building. We have an office somewhere where the computer
That is
guys
a true
are.
story.
There's a
that he went
P.O.
to go-
box of some sort where you can send stuff
There's
in.
a place,
How
where
long
the,
did you go without a dictionary? Is really my question. I did
let's-
notice you were slipping a little bit. So with the writing.
No. Let me put this into context.
go.
It was an old dictionary, and
Okay.
I thought my tax guy's in the same building as the Pioneer Press.
Oh.
And as long as I was there to see the tax guy, I said, this is during COVID.
Okay.
And nobody had been going there. I said, as long as I'm here, I'm going to run up and get some stuff. I got
Check
a
in.
dictionary
Check in.
up there. And,
Yeah.
and he said, well, you're not here anymore. I said, well, where are we? He said, I don't know. You're gone.
So was it vacant? I mean, there's nothing there,
It's
or
gone.
had it been replaced by a
No,
coffee
it's
shop?
it's
or
just
something?
a new, an empty
It's
floor.
apartment
now.
building.
I don't know what it is, but the point is that
Yeah.
Who moved
I-
your
I-
pica? What's the thing you use?
pica pole.
The pica
I
pole.
got it.
Oh, you still
Don't
got
worry
it?
about
Okay,
it.
all right.
The point is that I'm glad that we need Alpha News. We need the Minnesota Reformer. We need anything we can get our hands on
I agree.
here, because the Star Tribune is in the hands, ironically, of a Walls appointee. He was Walls' head of economic development, for God's sakes. And I think we can tell by the way the papers behave that they're very, very careful about Walls. Very,
You mentioned election, I should say post-election, because I think is that going to be the next wave now that Trump has been elected and now that the Republicans have taken the House? Is that kind of the next focus point of mainstream media is going to be not denying, so to speak, but I mean, is that the next path that people are going to be heading down in that regard?
Well, I think I had a conversation actually yesterday with the Upper Midwest Law Center, James Dickey, just talking about the lack of transparency when it comes to Minnesota elections more than anything. 3 law changes just this last session alone under the DFL trifecta, including the fact that precincts, if they used machines in the past, they have to use them moving forward. You can no longer see cast vote records, which are basically like the printout receipt, if you will, from a machine. The public is no longer allowed to see those. You don't have to have a physical address anymore to vote in Minnesota. You can just use landmarks when filling out your voter registration. So there's just so many things that have kind of been rammed through. But in the past, as James explained, any sort of law change when it came to elections had to have bipartisan support. Republicans, Democrats had to support them. Republicans didn't support any of this, and they rammed it through anyway. So we have a lot of work to do, as he talked about. in trying to restore some of that transparency more than anything else in Minnesota.
Why would they want to hide that transparency?
I don't
wonder?
know. That's an excellent question. Joe, what do you think?
Well, I just want to leave that for another day.
Okay.
It's a completely different topic. Well, not necessarily completely different, but
I'll come back tomorrow.
the current topic is Minnesota versus We the People, and again, people can see it on YouTube.
YouTube, Rumble. Yep, it's right on alphanews.org.
It's free, isn't it?
Also, it is. It's free, and you can sign up for our. I always fail to say this. Our daily newsletter that comes right to your email, right on alphanews.org, and we have an app. If you search in the App Store as well, that's free.
How is Alpha News supported, and what do you need?
Oh my gosh, how much time do you guys have?
10, 9.
We're out of time. We're a nonprofit, so we do rely on donations, which we appreciate very much. And we really just want our work to be seen more than anything else. I work with very young people who grew up with sort of the new media. I'm the oldest Alpha News employee, which I know is hard to believe, you guys.
And you'd be the youngest member of this staff.
I was actually thinking that I would do like some makeup for Garage Logic now that you guys are on YouTube. Would that
Look
be,
at us. Why bother?
Yeah,
just a couple,
you can get away with it. We can't.
We can do that.
Well, I thank you mightily. You're welcome anytime. And I really enjoy is the wrong word. I was moved by this.
Appreciate.
I appreciated this. And
Thank you.
that Shannon Owen, she must have girded her loins to do that. You know, she had to be. Was it tough to get these people to talk to you?
Tough in the sense that these are conversations that are so difficult. I mean, for everybody, but no, they want people to know about this. It's a way for their loved ones to be remembered, I think. But it's hard. I mean, it's. You're bawling really through these interviews with these people 10 minutes into it. I mean, and how could you not? These are fathers taken too soon from their children, coaches. We talked about.
Has she
about
moved?
No, she still lives there.
I asked that because I wonder in these cases if people move just to try to distance themselves, but they can never. Even if they move, they'd still have the
Joe,
memories.
when you look at the case, and I'm just going to say it specifically, Owen and Mitchell.
Mitchell ended up being flown to back to Baltimore, I believe.
Where he was from.
Where
Yep.
he's from, yeah. But these are two guys in particular. Those are the two guys you want to have a badge.
Yeah.
You want them serving the public, right? And that's what my fear has always been, is that it's going to deter the next Officer Mitchell from wanting
Right.
to serve.
And even with Josh, I mean, he died on his birthday. He died on his birthday. They had dinner, and her son was kind of begging to have cake, and she said, "No, wait for Dad to get home." And he never came home.
No, she took her son to the neighbor.
Yeah.
Then she went to the hospital, where she spent way too much time in a waiting room, and then finally got to go in to see him, thinking he was still alive. And then that becomes a very touching part of the interview. Very difficult for you to get through. Very difficult for her to get through. But the chiefs of these people all had resounding praise for them. O'Hara couldn't have been praising enough of Mitchell. The Burnsville chief loved these guys. The Burnsville fire chief loved these guys. And Owen's chief up in Pope County couldn't have been more happy for the guy when he was alive. But
Yeah.
this is it's amazing. 5 lost in 13 months, and I hope we're in a long break right
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
Long break. Liz Collin, and it's called Minnesota versus We the People. I highly recommend it.